All right, so here we have a list of movies from a hard-coded query that is going out to OMDB. It's hard-coded looking for the movie titled Batman. And these are the first 10 that match. And down below we have the details of a movie, depending on, as we click on any one of these, it fetches the detail for that particular movie. A little more interesting would be to have an input field here where we can type in the movie that we want to search, right? So let's do that. Let's add an input field right above the UL. This could be an input field here. We can say input. And we can put maybe a placeholder. And then it says title. This is what we expect you to type. And down below, maybe a button that says search. Okay? So it will look something like this. And if you type the name of a title, Batman or Star Trek or whatever, the search should generate the query that goes out to the server. So to do that, we need to do the click here, and this is going to go out to our component, our controller, that we want to search for movie, and we want to pass here an argument saying, what do you want me to search for? Okay? Basically, we would like to search for whatever is you type on the input field. But how do we grab what's in that input field? All right. So to do that, we need to work with forms in general, the HTML forms. To do that, we need to load a new library or another module that is not loaded by default in Angular. We need to install that module that works with forms, and we're going to import that, and it's the forms module. Forms module, there it is. And notice that it included it, imported it. And once we have that, now we can declare here a variable. We can say this input field is bound to a variable. All right, remember how we were using hello from the component to send data here to render? Right? We're going to go the other way around, right? It'll be the UI that is going to be sending data back to the controller, right? All right, so to do this, we need to declare on the component. We need to declare a variable where we can hold the data, right? So this might be something like movie title. Okay, so there's our variable that can hold the data that is going to be generated from the template. So let's do that. We can now, the way we bind it is by using these funny characters and the attribute ng model. Model as in data, right? Data model, right? And the square brackets and the parentheses, what they mean is that is the direction of binding, right? Of how the data here is being bound. And we're binding it both ways. It can the parentheses say that the data can flow from the HTML to the component, and the square brackets say that the data can also flow from the component back to the HTML, right? And you can do it both ways, or one way or another, right? You can decide a particular direction, right? Here we're going both ways, right? So double binding. Right, so if the component changes the data, it changes here. If the template, if the HTML changes this data by you typing, right, the component knows about it. Right? And what are we binding it to? We're binding it to that new variable that we created. We're going to bind it to, what was it called? Movie title. There it is. It finds it for me. And we're going to, even though the component already has the data there, because if we type it, it immediately sees it. We're gonna pass it along as an argument to the search for movie. Okay, we just pass it along. And the search for movie, we don't actually have a search for movie. Let's declare that somewhere here to handle this. Right, find a search movie. There's the movie title. So movie titles passed as an argument. And what we would like to be able to do is instead of just finding Batman movies, we would like to find movies by title instead. Have a more generic version of this one. Yes. So let's do that. Let's go to the here, right, and maybe copy this, right, and have a more generic version of this. So this would be maybe find movies by title, right, and we're passing here the title. Okay. So here, instead of hard coding Batman, right, we can just instead use it as part of the URL to build the URL dynamically. All right. What don't you like here? What's going on? Missing white space. Oh, okay, there we go. Took a while. All right, excellent. So that's what Search Movie will do. It will use this brand new service. It will find movie by title. Find what? Find what? Find movies by title. Why are you not finding it? Oh, sorry. Movie service dot find. It would have been scary if it would have been actually there, right? And we can pass in the movie title here. And once we find it, what we could do is we could replace, right? We could do the same thing we're doing for Batman, right? We can just take the movies, we can copy that and paste it right here, right? And say that these are the movies, actually, movies. Oh, no, response. Yeah, response, and then the search actually contains the array of movies. All right, so let's try it out. If we go here and we type in something else, avatar, and we do search, it didn't work. What? I'm sorry? The function name, did I call it wrong? Oh, right, this is wrong, right? It's a find movie by title. There we go. All right, so if I type here avatar and we do a search, notice that it finds the movie's avatar and whatnot, and the details works just as well, right, for each one of these, right? So that works. Okay. You okay? All right, so there we go. So we have the beginnings of an interface, right, with a remote API, which is one of the requirements in the project, right? That you're interacting with some third-party API, and that you have this query where you get first a summary result set, right? And then you go fetch for details in a later query. Okay. All right. So the interesting part would be how do we now how do we store, if anything, in our local database, right? Because this is us interacting with the remote service, with the remote database, right? What, if anything, do we want to store in our local database, right? So let's take a look at that next.